Well, we did an amazing reading for the Divine Feminine. She's an amazing space. And let's see where the Divine Masculine is at and how he's doing. So it's very interesting what I heard this afternoon, because I had a revelation about something, and it was how your inner state is how you create your experience. You can be in different dimensions at the same time, and you can be with your body in this third dimensional realm, but with your consciousness in the higher dimensions, and it's up to you what you're choosing. So it was really, that was such a revelation that came for the Divine Masculine, that you can be in those states, but how you interact and how your inner state is, that's also what you attract. So if you are in warrior mode or in the survival mode, that's also what you will receive. But yeah, it's a totally different thing. But if you are in your heart space, and in your heart space what you want, that's also what you receive. And I heard the Divine Masculine is getting his freedom because his heart was set on something else. So that is not that it is a choice of the Divine Feminine, but his heart space is wandering somewhere else. Okay, let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine in the cards. Rainbow Child. Ooh, that's such a beautiful energy. Multidimensional being and awakening. So the Tower actually is hitting the Divine Masculine, and there's a new awakening coming in for him. Just don't manifestation. What you wanted to manifest will come your way. Wow, it's the same card as the Divine Feminine had. So they were both manifesting things, but probably from a different dimension and a different view. The Indigo Child again. Wow. Divine Masculine. Yeah. I had the Indigo card also in the Twinflame reading 2 days ago. So, watch also the Twinflame reading if you want to know more about this card. It's really interesting. So, yeah. I see that the DNA is activated and he is in a storm. He's going through the Tower, he's going through the storm, he's going through an awakening. He needs to go back into light language and into his heart space to open up. Lemurian Shaman. That also the Divine Feminine is unstoppable, unstoppable. There's a new earth frequency coming your way. Your inner child healing, there's an inner child healing going on. And I have a feeling for the Divine Masculine, when that inner child healing is happening, the same things are entering your path time and time again. And every time you blame it to other, but you never are able to look at yourself, what your function is in all of it. You're blaming the communication. Look at your own communication. You look how you tell things to a feminine or a child. Look at it, how you communicate, because you blame the divine feminine while your communication tactics are totally manipulative and guilt tripping. In some cases, it's guilt tripping, and divine feminine doesn't accept it. Said no, I'm not in my shadow. I'm living in my sunlight energy. I'm having a higher vibration, and I stay there. And this inner child is wounded because that inner child needs healing, and giving it or not, the divine feminine is still giving healing towards the divine masculine because he deserves it. It's behavior, it's not his soul. And she can separate those things together. She sees the good soul in the divine masculine, and he's going through that storm. So yeah, it's really interesting what is happening. You open the road, you open the path, to create an higher dimension. I also hear, and that was in the meditation that came out, that was like, your heart space is open. Your heart space is creating things on a different level, and there is an awakening needed here. You need to go through a new portal. You need to go through healing before you can manifest the things that you really want, because there is not a thing here that is able to manifest or to create when there is no synchronicity here, when there is no alignment. And I hear the divine masculine has his heart set on something else. So when his heart is set on something else, and I don't want to say all masculine, but it's a little bit of a toxic trait. They push the divine feminine away by manipulation. That's it. I can't make anything else of it. And it's actually that chaos that is within, that is also what he creates on the outside. That indigo child is a beautiful, sensitive energy that is seeing through things, is seeing beyond the fields. But there are so many wounds there that there is no trust, and the divine feminine can't work with that, because all what she do is working out of trust and working from her cosmic heart space. So that's creating storms. That's the tower, that is coming around to just to change the things. We don't have to look at it as a blame game or whatever, but the times that the masculine is guilt tripping the divine feminine into do something what is not her original core or her vibration, then she will defend herself. There's no way about it. And that is because she's coming from the light language, she's coming from the heart. So yeah, let's see. Manifesting is going through. You're manifesting divine masculine, other things in your life. You see the soul, you see the heart, and you see that's real, that is true. So you're letting go of a lot of things. You're going on a different journey. The storm that is the storm with the divine feminine, and I have a feeling there is a deep wound with the feminine actually, and that's not healed. That's why there is no trust in the divine feminine. Feminine. Yeah, this, and that needs to heal before anything else can come into your life, that can manifest in your life. Because yeah, and when your heart is already set on something else, divine masculine, you have to go that way. You know, there is no other reroute. Your heart is getting pulled in that direction, and those souls, they know each other, or a situation that you want to go, or what you want to attract, or what you want to manifest. Those souls are connecting with each other. Those energies are synchronizing with each other, and that's what you want. So, and divine feminine says, well, yeah, you have free will, you have free choice. I have to let you go. That's it. No other reason. Because she knows, as a shaman, as a Lemurian shaman, and he is a Lemurian shaman, they know each other from Lemuria. Those souls are connecting from Lemuria. And we all know, you know, divine feminine grows quicker than the divine masculine. It takes all a little bit slower, it takes a little bit more time, but that doesn't mean he can't do it. You know, he's immense powerful. He has immense knowledge that, you know, that needs to change and create. You know, sing your light language, sing your song, connect with music, connect, higher that vibration, get you out of that emotion. You know, if I look at it, the divine masculine goes to that, wow, actually collective storm, what is going on, he's in the middle of it. And while the divine feminine, she is somewhere out there and celebrating and not making any fuss, because she knows everything what I manifest and set out will come our way. You know, it's just an awakening and an ending of a 9-year period that is shaking your grounds. And you're saying, okay, you know, I get my backpack, hop on a plane, and I'm gone. So, yeah, but it's also about, you know, your Lemurian shaman, your knowledge, your nature, your herbs, the survival skills that you have learned and taught yourself is also avoidant. So, in that avoidant energy, you know, there is a fear of abandonment. Those two go hand in hand, abandonment and avoidance, you know, not hanging in there and dealing what is going on. Now you retreat, you say one different word and you say, oops, I'm out. Instead of saying, okay, I'm mature, I'm hanging in here, and I'm connecting with you from heart to heart. I'm not connecting with you from my mind, because there's no connection there. Because if I come from that higher vision, from Christ consciousness, that I'm in that flow of trust, and in the flow that everything will work out for the best. Now, don't go in that control mechanism. And I see a lot of divine masculine struggling with that at this moment, because there's so much going on. There's so much going on that collective realm where they're connected to. So yeah. So it could be that he is already in a connection, but his heart is somewhere else. So if there is, and I talked about the three triangle relationships in the twin flame journey. So watch that video, the Twinflame from last I think Monday. Go and watch that, because it's all in there. You know, if your heart is set somewhere else, you have to go. And divine feminine just have to let go and say, okay, that's divine will. I let it go. Even if it is a storm for the divine masculine he has to go through, but it's an awakening. It's a heart opening. It's not a heartbreak. It's a heart opening, because you were so long numb in that relationship, for you couldn't feel your heart anymore. There was nothing going on in your system, in your body. So, you know, when then there is something coming in, and that is putting your whole system on fire, you know, you have to go. There's nothing else you can do. There is this soul tie, and it's connected, and they're so intertwined that there's no other way. And he knows it in his heart. He knows. Yeah, your light language, singing, dancing, laughter, you know, oneness of love, you know, that opens your heart. Listen with your heart instead of your mind, you know, listen to that heart space, and it will open, it will crack you, it will crack you open. And the love and the energy that you feel and that you are seeing, that is saying to you, I want to rise my vibration, I want to be there, come on, you know, throw me a lifeline, you know, and take me with you. And the feminine says, yeah, that's perfectly fine, I can throw you this lifeline, but you won't learn. You need to make the decisions. I can't help you to make that decision, you know, and that's the right thing to do. The decision has to come from the masculine himself, instead of going in the old way of seducing and try to hold on, and you know, hold him on the leash and pull and pull and pull him closer, you know, that is only restricting his heart. So what is going on now? He is saying, okay, I have the freedom. I need to heal before I go there. I need to heal before I go in my manifestation. Wow, really beautiful. And let's see what the tarot has to say on it. And actually, he's unstoppable. You know, he is that. I see this glow in his eyes when he listens to the divine feminine. I get some information, but I don't think that YouTube is allowing me to share it. Oh my gosh. If I feel this energy, it almost makes me blush, you know. His unstoppable, his rainbow child within him, you know, is guarded. It's afraid actually of being hurt. You know, it's this very sensitive energy. It's joyful, it's going with the flow, and he is guarding the child, the inner child. But the inner child needs compassion, needs love, needs harmony. And actually, that is not what he can give himself at this moment. That's why he has the awakening card, you know, to say, I need to wake up and I need to nurture my inner child more. Well, last week and in the twin flame reading, he had the inner child. He had the new, you become a new man when you are with that inner child, when you heal that inner child, when you nurture that inner child. So that is what you need to do. I'm not telling you what to do because you have a free will, but it's just what comes through, you know. And you're guarding yourself for being unstoppable. Maybe you have a fear of progress, you know, or moving forward, or have an issue with I hear lack. If you are in a state of lack, um, of minimalism, that's also what you receive. Well, your birthright is to have it all, you know, and I'm not meaning business wise, you know, the abundance, creation, the flow, the happiness, the joy, you know, it's all there, but you're living on the edge. And it's almost like you're going up and then you're dropping down. Keep that vibration up and do the inner work, because it's otherwise you get tower after tower, and that's not needed. You know, it's really not needed, because if I look at the divine feminine, you know, there's a storm. How she deals with the storms. She had so many storms in her lifetime. Oh, this is just the next one coming, you know. And I'm just, what can I do if I'm in that storm? You know, I'm going to the center myself, and I will be in the middle of that eye, and I will compose my frequency. I will hold that frequency, and I will still, in that storm, connected with Source and with God. And that's something divine masculine is um, still learning. That's why the awakening is needed for him. You know, there is a huge DNA activation going on for the divine masculine. There's a huge DNA activation going on in the collective. You know, we can't go around an activation if you are thinking, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on? I want to retreat. I want to get out of this. You know, center yourself first. And hi everyone. So yeah, that and then you start to manifest. You already manifested in your life what you want, because that's where your heart is. You know, your heart made already a choice. You made a choice. So don't sabotage yourself by being unstoppable, by being in a lesser space, in a lesser mindset, you know, where you are in your mindset, in your feelings. That is also what you attract. So don't project your own wounds onto someone else, because you know, you get the mirror back. You get exactly what you receive, you know. You get exactly what you send out. Because nowadays the divine feminine is in her goddess energy. She's not working from her little child wounds anymore. She is in her in her goddess energy, and don't you mess with the goddess, you know. And so it's that's why the awakening is there, and the storms, you know, just stay in that center of that storm and connect with source. You know, it's your happiness, it's your joy, and go where your heart goes. You know, if you have your heart set on someone else, go there. You know, because you're already in a place where you're not happy, and where you're not happy, do you think it will be happy in next month, a week after? No, you're going down in a crisis. You're going down in a circle, you know, and then you're going to do the things that you don't want to do from your heart space. And then the storm is coming loose, and then you're losing everything what you love in your life. So don't go there. And that's the chaos that the indigo child creates time and time again, because he is used to chaos. And that indigo child, you know, has so sensitive, is so in that space of visionary, you know, looking to through the veils, but also never learned how to deal with those energies. And so their norm is that they're in a storm all the time. And when they're in that storm and it's going around and around and around, you know, that is their common knowledge. That is what they know. So they don't know how to feel relaxed, how to be peaceful, how to create that peace. And it's just an unconscious thing. And that's the wound that needs to heal. The child needs to heal from the chaos they create every time, because they're not seeing it. Wow. But he's coming out of it. He's coming out of it by, you know, going through the light. You know, open your crown chakra, connect with God, connect with source. You know, sing, dance, laughter, light language. Yeah, oneness of love. Connect with that, because you're far away from that at the moment. Okay, what's in the awakening? What is the tarot saying over the awakening part for the divine masculine? And this is not a blame game reading. This is awakening, you know, awakening energy for the divine masculine. Heavy burden. Heavy burden, the awakening, going through the storm, waking up time and again, you know, feel it, go within, feel it. He is holding himself back from a next DNA activation. He's holding himself back about, you know, who he really is and wants to be in his soul space. You know, he has such an amazing soul. I see the divine masculine having such an amazing soul, and I see him sabotaging himself. So, you know, fighting himself. You know, it's almost like he is being stabbed and betrayed and had so much on his plate, you know, that it's almost a heavy burden that he's carrying with him. And he needs to get this off his shoulders. Get that burden off your shoulders, divine masculine. Get it off yourself. Open up that chakra system from top to bottom. Let it spin, you know, and go to that higher frequency. Work with everything that you need to take yourself to that next level. Take good food, take your supplements, take your herbals, take your oils, whatever you need. It's your spiritual work, that is what is needed. So do your exercises. So it's all, yeah, sabotaging yourself. Wow. What is on the manifestation? What is on the manifestation? By the way, the person that's in your heart space, that's your awakening. She woke you up and she upgraded your DNA to, I will almost say, go to the moon, manifest everything where your emotions are. And when you are manifesting from lack, or manifesting from shadow, or you're manifesting from a lower vibration, that is what you receive. I already said it. It's not an easy, we all know it's not an easy road, but it's the road you need to take, because otherwise you won't get out of it. You get stuck. I have the, defending, going away from your inner child, fighting with the awakening, that brings you in an emotional turmoil. You're not able to manifest, because that is what you do. You manifest what is within you, the indigo child. What is going on with the indigo child? Please let it be a little bit better cards here with a better vibration. Money. Wow. You're afraid that people will take your money. That's the inner child that is screaming lack of money. It is the treasure chest that is coming your way. You're afraid that people are with you for your money, or that they're not maintainable. Interesting. Yeah. And there's something totally different playing out here, but it's your conviction. And what your conviction is your truth, and you make it reality. So that is what, that's also what your outcome will be. It's just a typical mental. I hear gold digger. Okay, let's talk about gold diggers. Masculine energy. They want a wife that cooks for them, that take care of their children, that are doing the household, that are working, and they all want to do it 50-50. And what are they giving back? Well, I'm not going there. So who's the gold digger here? The feminist, independent, having their own work, having their own job, having their own money, having their own house. So what are they bringing in? I haven't met a man yet that has the energy of God. But there is one that comes very close. And that your energies are intertwined. So there is an energy going on here that says, okay, divine masculine has set his heart on something else, and because of that, he's creating storms, not only for himself, but for his whole surroundings, if he isn't um, awakened. You know, if he's an awakened man, he will say, okay, I'm letting go first. I'm going to heal myself. I take the time, and then I move into my divine counterpart. But that's not the case. I see, you know, I see divine masculine here running away from his own problems, from his own wounds, and just blaming everybody else. And the divine feminine says, okay, I'm okay with being a villain in your story, but I'm not lower myself on your vibration. You know, I'm on that flow. I'm not going there. And she is working with the light language. She's working with the Tai Chi. She is working with her spiritual work. You know, she's doing the work. So don't point the finger towards the divine feminine when she is going, when she already went through that storm way before you. So, and you're still on that same level, you know, not waking up and, you know, looking at yourself and going within and saying, okay, I can adjust this, I can adjust that. That's not the case. Divine masculine, you know, you really need that kick under your butt. Get that fire going and do the work. And I know there are other masculines who do this work, you know, also for a living. So and they are in that state. And I feel my goddess energy with me, and she is like, wow, yeah, okay. You waited for this, divine masculine. You waited for this. Because that indigo child is not healed. And that indigo child is creating chaos time and time again, because, you know, they can't handle the energies. They can't, it's the overwhelm. It's too much. It's not trusting. It's not, oh, everything is being taken away from me and it's not going the way I want it. And it's all that chaos and all that overwhelm, and I feel the upbuilding of anger because the anger issue isn't dealt with it, and you know that's what you receive. That is, you know, your fruits of the storm that you create, and then you say, ah, finally. I didn't have to do this. I just had to manipulate the situation, but wasn't aware of that the divine feminine would defend her frequency. Wow. So no way. So you create the storm on your own. Yeah. And you can get out of it. You can get out of it. Singing, dancing, walking, action, working with your body, you know, singing. It's a very, very, very interesting part, because the indigo child loved to dance, loved to sing, loved to do poetry, work with it, you know, and the Lemurian shaman can work with the energies, and he can work with the herbs, with nature. Go into nature, get off your clothes and dive in a creek, you know, go ski digging in the sea so you get cleansed. It's all what is needed, because you carrying that burden, and you keep carrying that burden with you every time again. And it's not the divine feminine, it's your burden. So it's up to you to throw it off. Wow. And now different people, different kind of men are coming into my vision. So that's also why I'm placed and stationed in Egypt at this moment, to change that energy, because the power here is amazing. The energies are through the roof. The activations that we get when we are in a collective that is with the same vibrations is intense and immense. And it levels you up, it cleans the old out, and you're moving forward. Divine Feminine is not the same anymore as a couple of months ago. She's learning every day. Yeah, it's activating more your feminine energy. You know, go in your feminine energy. See and break that circle. Break that circle. And Divine Feminine is a circle breaker. You know, she's a curse breaker. She is an ancestral curse breaker. So work with those ancestors. Work with that energy that can break the habits and the old system and thinking, you know, really, really, really well. And if you walk in the shadow, you know, it's probably good you walk in the shadow at this time, because you need it. Because that's the timeline you are on, you know, to working with the deep ancestral shadow. And that's also what keeps you going, you know, because you're probably living in a timeline of 30 years ago, and that those energies are keeping you there, and there's not much of a change there. There's not much of a growth. On a personal level, I hear, you know, spiritual you're growing, but on a personal level nothing happens. You have to see that. You have to look into that for yourself. Yeah. It's easier for you to wound someone that somebody else, that you can walk away, you know, and that's not how we work. That's toxic behavior. It's so toxic. And you hurting somebody and you're repeating the same thing and the same thing again, so the other person would feel burdened and unhappy in the situation with you, that they would walk away. And you did the work. You created it by manipulation, by not saying the truth, by lying, by this betrayal, you know. I also hear by spell work. Wow. And what you create for yourself is wanted to take more than you wanted to give from your heart. Divine Feminine gave and gave and gave and gave. You actually, in your heart space, you're the same, but there are influences around you that you're not seeing. So that's the thing what I say in this time. So I will see you. If you want a private reading from me, go to your divine, go to my inbox